Oh! Panther P, what up? I'm watching the Carolina Panthers pick the 8th overall pick in the 2025 draft right now. Watch me react. All right, so right now I'm watching the 2025 NFL draft in Green Bay. The Jets pick is in right now. Soon after, the Carolina Panthers picking 8th overall. Doesn't look like Dan Morgan and company actually made a trade. We heard from analysts all over the place that the value for moving up, unless it's a generational player, it just doesn't really work right now, especially from 8 downward all the way into like the early second round. According to analysts, the skill level, the impact of a lot of these guys is kind of all the same. So it doesn't make sense to trade up and lose draft assets. However, the Jacksonville Jaguars felt otherwise. They traded a boatload to go to number 2 for the Browns. They got Travis Hunter. He is a generational player. He's worth the trade up. All right. So right now, it has been somewhat chalk thus far. Armand Membu, the offensive tackle out of Missouri, is going to be a New York Jet, protecting the blind side of Justin Fields. So really, right now, the only surprise really is the trade. So the Jaguars moved up to number 2. They got Travis Hunter. Obviously, Cam Ward went number 1 to the Tennessee Titans. And then it was Travis Hunter, number 2 overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And then after that, it was Abdul Carter to the New York Giants. The Philly guy is going to be with the Giants. And then 4th overall went to who was it? After Abdul Carter to the Giants, it was Will Campbell to the Patriots. And after that, the Browns were then back on the clock after they traded down from 2 till 5. And then they got Mason Graham. So you could say maybe that Mason Graham may have been the surprise there. But then when you think about it, the Jaguars were picking at 5 originally before this trade even happened. Normally during mock drafts, it was the Jaguars taking Mason Graham and not the Browns. So the Browns kind of did what we thought was going to happen at 5th overall. It doesn't matter what the team was. And that was that Mason Graham was going to get drafted. So Mason Graham, instead of going to the Jags, he's going to the Browns. And then we just saw Ashton Genty getting drafted to the Las Vegas Raiders. So that's going to be a nice little pickup for Pete Carroll and company, who was trying to drop a couple of nuggets there on X. Geno Smith is going to have a reliable running back behind him who's going to make his job easier. He's not going to have to force the ball down the field. Little surprised they didn't try to get another wide receiver in Ted McMillan. But anyways, the Jets then picked out some offensive tackle and Membu, who tested really well during the combine. They're just showing him right now. He looks like he's primarily playing right tackle there. There is some talk that the Carolina Panthers could be in the market for an offensive tackle. I saw that put out there, whether it was an Armand Membu, whether it was a Will Campbell, but Will Campbell wasn't going to drop to 8 unless something crazy happened. But the Panthers pick is in. So that was a quick pick. So is it going to be Jalen Walker, who has been the talked about pick to the Panthers? Is he a scheme fit? There's a lot out there, whether it's Mike Kay from the Charlotte Observer and then others in the draft community, Trevor Sikkema. Even though he's a Tampa guy, he says, in terms of measurables, which is something that Dan Morgan and company have been preaching, Jalen Walker does not have that for the position that he plays. Despite being a hybrid guy off the edge, he's still 6'1", 32-inch arms, not a massive individual. You could argue that that Abdul Carter is only 6'3", best 2 inches, but his arms could be a bit longer. But as a dude, I don't think anybody in the draft community, whether it's the Panthers community, would argue that Jalen Walker is the guy. He is a dude. He's the guy you want in the building. He's the guy you want running the building, maybe coaching in the building at some point. And of course, they go to break. It's a tradition unlike any other. They just went to break when the Panthers pick is in. They just went to break as the Panthers pick is in. I can't believe it. Wow. If I have to see them do a recap and not get the Roger Goodell read of the name and the reaction, okay. That's like that stuff happens day 2, day 3, but day 1? And also, if you hear baby cooing, it's my kid. So take it behind the curtain a little bit. I wanted to go live. I wanted to go live and talk with you guys. There's about 18 of you. Pretty decent number. Could have gotten higher, I believe. But kid needed milk. Wife needs to sleep. Your boy's here. Got to be a dad first. Dad first. Son, brother, husband. Not in that order, but at least at this point, when the kid's 2 months old, I'm in dad mode. So right now, I'm doing this, and my kids sleeping right next to me, watching me, learning how to work the mic. Still in commercial. Pick is in. It was at like just over 2 minutes, and the pick was in. So, are we just going to get a recap right now? Like, oh, wow, you missed it. ICYMI. ICYMI. Is that a new segment sponsored by Advil? Oh my god, I can't believe that just happened. Okay, we're talking about voting. We're going to vote. People are going to vote in Canada. You guys already voted in the States. Yeah, I know. And now we're getting some Domino's commercials. Okay. Mm-mm-mm. They're doing the Panthers dirty right now. The pick is already in. I'm watching it on my iPad right now, and it's on Do Not Disturb. And I already know the tweets are coming in on who the draft is, who the draft pick is. Okay, now we're getting a FanDuel ad. They're a sponsor, so that means the draft has to come up eventually, right? The pick has to come in, the broadcast. So the pick is in at 8, meaning no one was trading with the Panthers. No one wanted what they were offering. And Dan Morgan even said today that he was willing to take a low ball. It's like this man was desperate, capital D. So didn't work out. Surprise, surprise. I'm just glad they didn't get fleeced. I'm just glad they didn't accept any trade just to move down and just get absolutely worked. So at least at this point in the first round, they still have 9 picks, including the 8th overall pick. They're not trading down. They didn't trade up. Oh my God, this is the longest commercial break of all time. We're going to be at pick 11 by the time we get on. Gonna turn up the volume a little bit so you guys can hear it. All right, they didn't skip the Panthers. Everyone was on a commercial break. All right, the pick is in. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Yeah, my kid's yawning. He's bored of this already. We're only in the 8th pick. There's like 250 left. Oh! Whoa. 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 Forget defense. Forget being from Salisbury, North Carolina. Forget getting the quarterback. Ted McMillan is a Carolina Panther. Wow. Wow. They couldn't get Higgins, so they got Ted McMillan. They got T Mac instead of T Hig. Wow, my kid's loving it. He is loving it. Wow. 3,400 career receiving yards, most in Arizona history. 2024 first AP All American. Wow. Okay, Bryce, it's on you. I'm out there by saying it was a reach at 8, but they want to trade down, and I guess they didn't believe in the fit. And this is a deep edge draft, and so maybe they get somebody in the second round. Wow. Wow. Dan Morgan knows how to lie. He lies straight to our face. Dave Canales interviews with Kay Adams, who makes everybody sweat, lied straight to our face. They said defense, 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 defense. That's not happening. They're going straight offense. My man Aaron from Unnecessary Bluntness is a happy man. He's been preaching Ted McMillan for months. And hey, he gives something a little different compared to all the other wide receivers in the room. Everyone in the wide receiver room is big body and slow. Xavier Liga probably has something to say about that. But Tet, 6'5", massive, 50-50 guy. Again, put him in NFL weight room, power conditioning program, work on that separation. Wow. Obviously, Coach Bryce Young say that he doesn't want to make this about Bryce Young, but it kind of is about Bryce Young. He can see him smiling ear to ear right now. Okay, Laura Rutledge talking to the McMillan family. Let's see what they got to say. Hmm. All right. I mean, okay. As a fan, you got to be happy the fact that it's all about this guy. It's all about Bryce. We're going to go as far as Bryce. They built that defense up. Patrick Jones, uh, Bobby Brown, uh, like the cat out of Kansas City. Sorry, he's escaping my name right now. JC's going to be there. Like they still got to pick up a safety. They got Trayvon Moreg. The defense has been built up so that they can get a little. They can take some risks, as Dan Morgan did say. They can get a little more creative. And while we've been spoiled in drafts in the past with the wide receivers out there that were picked in the first round, in the top 10, would Ted McMillan make it to 8? No. But they thought that probably out of the wide receivers in this draft, nobody could really offer what he could offer. As the Saints are on the board right now, and I guarantee you they're going to pick Jalen Walker. Okay, they went offensive tackle. Okay, so some of these guys might potentially drop. So Ted McMillan, who was put out there saying that he's going to drop into like the drop in the 20s, he's not worth it. Again, let's go back to him. It's his day. It's his day. And I'm not trying to push anything, but part of the AAPI community to have a Polynesian guy on the Panthers, we missed that energy from Frankie Louvu on the defensive side. Now we're going to get that Polynesian Haka energy on the offensive side. So that's kind of cool. I will say that. It's awesome. It's nice to see. First of all, I didn't know he was Polynesian when I was initially looking at him as a potential prospect. Then I saw it. I think that's kind of cool just to see out there. You don't see too many. Puka Nakua. I mean, pretty good sample size right now in terms of Polynesian wide receivers out there. If Tech could be a fraction of Puka Nakua for the Panthers, I'm a happy man. But they built that defense in a way that they can take some risks, and they probably thought in the war, but I'm sure we're going to hear from them at some point that they thought that they can address the wide receiver position now because no one else in the draft can do what Tet does in terms of you can't teach that 6'5". You can't teach the jump ball ability. You can't teach like the 10+ inch hands. You can't teach that. You can make them faster. You could always do that. You can help them with the separation, coaching, scheme fit, all that kind of stuff. Dave Canales has a connection with the Pete Carroll family, and then they coached Tet at Arizona, so that kind of works out scheme wise. And so they probably thought, okay, let's get him now. And this is a super deep draft when it comes to defensive line talent. A couple safeties out there you can get in later rounds. So maybe I could see them maybe using 3 or maybe three of those 5th round picks, maybe a 2 out of the 4th round picks, and try to trade up into an earlier part in the draft. Because right now we're on the clock from 8 to 57. I don't see that happening. But it looks like no one's doing business with the Panthers right now. They couldn't trade down, but man. So they're going to go defense in second round. They have to. I could totally see them. You're waiting till 50. I can't see it happening, but I could see them trading up in the second round and then getting like a Princely. If Donovan Ezeraku is still available somehow, I think you'd have to trade up and get someone like him, a pure pass rusher, a James Pierce Jr., who has some character concerns right now, which are seemingly legitimate. If you get him in the right building, in the right culture, where the Panthers seem to be trying to build, that could be a place for him. There are so many. Mike Green is going to drop as well. He has some off the field issues as well. If you're comfortable with that kind of stuff, but I could see the Panthers moving in that direction. Guys who could still fall. Let's just take a look. Like there's no point. Like basically every edge rusher is available besides Abdul Carter. Let's take a look. Tevin Millen, Kevin Banks, best players available. So right now, when it comes to edge, ESPN has Micah Williams. He's not going to be available in second. James Pierce, he might. Shamar Stewart, Donovan Ezeraku, Jordan Birch, JP Tuamalau. You can get another Polynesian guy. Nick Scorton. Landon Jackson, he could definitely be there in the second round. Josiah Stewart, also Braden Swinton. I wouldn't be surprised if Braden Swinton was a Panther at some point by the end of day 2. Let's take a look at Twitter, what Twitter is saying right now. Let's see what the beat reporters are saying. Let's see what the Panthers with wide receivers coach turned head coach like the ultimate jump ball weapon of the draft. Carolina's hoping T-Mac can be win off the backboard, windmill dunk at wide receiver. Maybe. Never felt like Jalen. Okay, this is Mike K. And I talked about this in the last episode from earlier today in the coffee dump. Never felt like Jalen Walker made a ton of sense for the defense, but if they feel like McMillan is faster than projected, he's a logical add at number 8. Ted McMillan is the first Arizona player ever drafted by the Panthers. Feel like a McMillan Bucks from the Panthers. Okay, let's see what the community is saying about that. How the F do you pass on Warren? Y'all going to regret that. Dub. Oh, yeah. Tyler Warren. All right. Awful reach pick. Okay, some people are going to be mad. I mean, I think it's kind of wild. Love the pick. Takes off. Panthers Nation. All right, let me know in the comments below how you guys feel about the pick, and I'll be back. If they trade up, I'll be back here, but I'll be back day 2. See you guys soon.